Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sorting Hat Podcast, a show where everything and anything can and will be sorted. I, as always, am your host, Michael Barryte, joined by my co-host, Brice.
Hi, would you like to try a sample?
Oh my gosh, what do you have?
Well, this is a nice Arabica bean from the Aruba Plain.
Oh.
And it's completely organic and free trade. And I hope you like it quite a bit. If you do enjoy it, you can find it there on aisle 2.
Oh, fantastic. Can I have a second cup? This is really good.
And we like to call this product Jeremy Hanna, who is our guest today on the Sorting Hat Podcast.
Hey, I'm from Aruba.
Great. The basic conceit of the show is we have a expert or fan knowledgeable on a topic that we then sort various things within that topic into the various houses of Hogwarts. We're joined by Jeremy Hanna, who...
Shalom.
Who is an improviser, comedian, and teacher around the Los Angeles area. And you also are wildly knowledgeable about all things Trader Joe's.
Yes, I'm a huge Trader Joe's fanatic.
You've got family members who have worked there for a while, yes?
Yes, my mom works at one in San Jose. My cousin works at one in Agora. Mm-hmm. And also I was introduced to Trader Joe's a long time ago doing community theater as like a middle school kid. Mm-hmm. And because Albertsons was right next to my house, so we mainly shopped there.
Right.
But I went to a friend's house, like, whoa, you mean you have chocolate covered raisins all the time? And she's like, yeah. And I realized, I looked in, they had all these tasty, tasty treats, and a lot of them became my favorite things. And now that I'm an adult, I pretty much only shop there just because I'm an adult and I can shop where I want for no other reason.
That's the perks of adulthood.
Hooray!
So we're going to just be diving in because I asked Jeremy for a list of items, and it is a
longer than a
multi-page list.
Like it's a shopping list for like 50 people.
Yes. So we're going to try to bullet train through as many of these as we can.
Yeah, Jeremy said off mic he's hoping we go for the record of most things sorted. Couldn't say at this point. We've done other episodes where we did a lot.
I mean, Halloween things with Michael Santel was probably the most.
But was that one a two-parter?
No, Halloween things wasn't.
Okay, I'm going to look up how many things you sorted, and then I'm going to beat it.
Yeah, you can check it on the wiki that we definitely have.
Yeah, on the sorting hot.
But okay, so we're going to try to dive in as far as sorting bias is concerned. I'm a Ravenclaw, Jeremy is a Hufflepuff, and Reed is a Hufflepuff. Yep. So just so you understand where we're coming from there, let us start with probably the most notable item perhaps from there, which is the Jojos.
And we have started the time now.
Yes.
All right, so the Jojos, they are Oreos, but they're not Oreos. They're different.
That's pretty, it doesn't it have like a toucan on the box?
It has a toucan, and there's a whole bunch, like a huge variety. There's gluten-free Jojos. We got mango Jojos. There's peppermint Jojos.
I think at one point and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because another item we'll probably get to later, cookie butter. Wasn't there also a cookie butter Jojo at one point?
I think there's a cookie similar to it.
Yeah.
Where there's like a cookie butter cookie.
Yeah, okay.
But it's like that kind of thing.
Okay,
More like a Girl Scout
do-si-do. We'll get to cookie butter later.
No, I believe cookie butter's on the list.
Yes.
So, I mean, one of the things that we also need to like address, I suppose, out of the gate is a lot of items that we are going to be sorting are like, this is the Trader Joe equivalent to X.
And what that basically means is what Trader Joe's does is instead of like most grocery store chains, they charge you money to put stuff on their shelves. Mm-hmm. So it's like, so they go up to Oreos and be like, oh yeah, you want to sell Oreos here? Well, you got to give us some money and then we'll sell your stuff. And we also have to be able to make a profit off of it, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas Trader Joe's goes in like, we won't charge you anything. We're going to sell it for cheaper. You'll make probably a little less, but you also don't have to spend like $1 million to be at Ralph's.
Sure.
Gotcha.
And I want to bring this up now. I'm a huge fan of the podcast, listening since it started.
Thank you.
I want to pick a fight with Ryan Finnerty. Because he said early on that Trader Joe's was a Slytherin because they never have your stuff. They're always super mean. They're like not super mean, but it's like he feels like there's something going on behind the scenes. I just want to say that's bullshit. I don't know how I feel about that.
He was I think he might have like alluded that there was like cult like behavior to like the staff and culture.
Yeah, if you guys haven't listened to, and I will admit first and foremost that the audio quality on those earlier episodes is not up to our current standards, but the argumentation that Ryan Ryan's just like a very solid debater, and when he has a strong opinion on something, he can be. I mean, he's a Slytherin.
And the dumber
Oh, yeah.
and less important the opinion, the more head up he'll get, and that's one of my favorite things about him.
Yeah.
Well, like one of the main reasons Trader Joe's will not have it. This was his big point. It's like they don't have it. They just never have it. That's my Ryan Finnerty.
It's a solid Ryan Finnerty impression.
But like the main reason is if the people aren't selling it, if they're like, oh yeah, we don't have any right now to give to you guys, then we can't sell. Then they can't sell it. So like it's a whole thing with like. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, they can try and like, oh yeah, we have this item, it's coming, huh? Like, and
I appreciate how much you're going to bat for Trader Joe's right now.
I feel it was every snack in high school.
Okay,
but it was a big thing.
How are we going to sort these Jojos? Because I think like we have to take away the initial assumed bias of, hey, it's copying another brand that is more established,
and also,
Oreo, which is really just copying Hydrox, which came out so I found out Hydrox came out in 1908, I believe, and then 4 years later Oreo came out.
Really?
Yeah,
And
Hydrox are the first ones.
Hydrox are the original like cream-filled cookie, but just, I mean, maybe it's the fact that Hydrox really sounds like laundry detergent more than it does a food.
Who double stuffed first?
Probably Oreo.
Okay, then that's why they won. Like, if you want to win, you got to double stuff.
And maybe, I mean, also it could just come down to Oreo making the claim that it's Milk's favorite cookie, and then they're like, how do we compete? What do we say? Like,
no.
Okay, so in my opinion, because there are going to be items at Trader Joe's that we'll cover that I feel are going to be like distinct to that grocery culture, if we would call it that. But this one is going to be one of the few that when you eat a Jojo, you are, unless you have somehow never had an Oreo, you're thinking, this is like an Oreo. And like that's just I feel like an inextricable comparison you're going to make for, if any item. And for that reason, I feel like they probably have a little bit of an inferiority complex, so I'm going to go Secret Slytherin on this one.
Sure, that's fair.
It's also like, objectively, there's nothing about a Jojo that has any nutritional value.
Oh, not at all. I can go with Secret Slytherin trying to be a Hufflepuff in the sense that it's like, look at all our different flavors. We got mango and gluten-free if you want. We're not Oreo. Come on, we're the same. I can agree with that.
I'm going to keep us with Joe at the moment, and as opposed to Jojos, now Jojos, which are the Cheerio basic knockoff that they have. And they have Honey Jojos, which I think might be better than Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh.
I think they're more whole grain.
Maybe that's what it is. I've recently, because I, for the longest time, ate Honey Nut Cheerios, and then more recently switched to their like multi. It's a purple box. I don't recall the exact name of it, but it's got a variety of different like whole grain and whatever. So it's a delight. Every bite tastes a little bit different. Those Cheerios in the purple box.
I want to sell items like that. That thing, and the thing.
It's
one. There.
I'm not a cereal guy, so how are you guys feeling about these?
I do like them. I always feel like they're a little bit sweeter for me personally.
Right. No, they do have a more pronounced sweetness, but I don't think it's a sweetness that I think you associate it more with honey than sugar, which like a more processed sugar sort of situation.
It's always going to go Hufflepuff to me because whenever I hear
I feel that as well.
Any kind of like Cheerio or circular grain product, I always think of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, that one part where he's in the bowl of cereal.
Oh, gotcha.
And he's like, because that's always to me, I'm like, that's what cereal really looks like. I want to eat Cheerios forever. Like that was me as a kid.
My association with Cheerios or Jojos, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Is them one being stuck to a baby's face. I feel like it's like one of the first foods that a baby can eat.
Yeah,
sure.
So I'm like, that's a baby thing.
So I have a fun baby.
You have a fun baby?
A fun baby story, and also related to Cheerios. So growing up, I ate Cheerios as a kid. When I was about 3.5, my brother was born, and I, as a young child, was very distraught at the fact that my mother was only feeding my brother milk. And so I, at like 2 or 3 weeks, into my brother's life, I tried to feed him Cheerios, which apparently is a very bad thing because those babies can't.
They can't digest.
They can't manage that.
No.
So my mom, like in a horrified sort of state, had to be like, Michael, no! Like,
oh, you were trying to help.
I was trying to help, but I could have killed my brother very easily, probably in that instance.
Murder's adorable when you're an accidental baby,
right?
Like,
yeah, when it's good-hearted, well-intended murder, that's when it's excusable. But in any other case, don't commit murder, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna take a stance that we're pretty much against murder here.
Right, like
Mostly.
largely against murder.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
next thing we're sorting, what kind of murder is okay?
So we sorted Hufflepuff.
Yeah, Hufflepuff.
Yeah. Okay. Let's continue with the other cereal that I do have listed, which is organic purple maize flakes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So these are corn flakes, basically. Except you know how yeah, they're like corn flakes, but when you look at the different kinds of corn, there's yellow corn is not always the natural color of corn. It's kind of like how carrots aren't just orange.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of different colors of carrot. So this uses purple maize, which is like less like, I guess futzed with is the term I'm going to use.
Sure.
Like it's just like, oh, this is like, we're going with the purple corn. It's a lot more fun. And also
Right.
it's purple. So
Yeah.
that's a lot more.
It's not like a distinct vibrant purple. It's like it's a much deeper purple, almost closer to brown a little bit.
It's a Jimi Hendrix-esque purple,
Now,
like
if
a
this-
deep purple.
Yeah.
If this corn does indeed have less processing to it and therefore has maybe a higher fiber content than regular cornflakes, then that's fine. But what I suspect is that it's just going off of the purple color, but making people think that it's healthier for them than regular cornflakes. And if that is the case, then I would say Slytherin.
Well, they don't. They advertise it as organic, but because it is organic. But I don't think they really sell any other kind of cornflake.
The pod listeners also know that I have strong feelings on the term organic and how loose and vague it is.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's either Hufflepuff or Slytherin, probably.
Which is always fun.
Yeah,
like a Hufflepuff or
you
Slytherin.
don't get that. You don't get like those like dichotomies very often.
Right,
Like
I
I
think-
can't tell if it's a Hufflepuff or a Slytherin.
Right, and I think some of that just comes with what is the intention. I mean, obviously, it's targeting a very specific buyer, the Trader Joe's goer.
You have to ask yourself at the end of the day, when you get into bed and you turn around and you look at the cereal, you look in its eyes, can I trust you? And if the answer is no, you have to go Slytherin.
Why is cereal in bed with you?
Because you love it. It's like you're in a relationship with cereal.
Oh, for some reason, when you said looking at the cereal behind you, I thought you were like sitting in bed reading a book then. It's like all the way around on the wall.
look over to
Which
the
is
wall
a
now.
really unique room setup. Like that's what was that?
You guys don't have your bed in the middle of the room?
What was that Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie that he directed with Scarlett Johansson?
What?
Don John, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
His room setup in that movie is like that. It's
Ugh.
really
Really?
weird.
His bed's not touching any of the walls?
His bed is in the middle of the room and the desk is behind it. Like the desk makes his bed's headboard.
Huh,
It's
that's
really
weird.
Maybe it's because it was a studio apartment. I really don't remember, but I just remember looking at the room and being like, that's a very interesting choice.
I always feel weird in general if from my bed I can't see my door. Like coming in, because like I've been in some rooms where people sleep with their head towards the wall, but I'm like towards the door, and I'm like, why? Like you can't. Like what if someone comes in? Like I want to be able to go, oh hi.
Well, that
opposed
plays
to-
into my irrational fears of assuming. Yeah, but
and I also realizing this isn't going so far great as an argument against Trader Joe's being in Slytherin.
but okay. So I mean, I don't necessarily have a definitive answer. We don't necessarily need to sort.
Yeah, make your
exactly.
own decisions. We can only give you context.
So,
Exactly.
dear
purple,
listeners, if
Hufflepuff.
you feel that the organic purple maize flakes are Slytherin, let us know. Or if you feel that they're Hufflepuff, let us know with the hashtag organic purple maize sorted.
All right, what are we going on to?
And please remember, maize is spelled Maize. We're gonna shift actually back to the top of your list because I started in the middle for some
No
odd
worries.
reason.
This is a fun place to start.
Let's go with Sriracha bacon jerky.
Ooh, Sriracha
There's
bacon
a lot
jerky.
going on.
Guess what's in it? Sriracha bacon and jerky.
Solid.
It's because it's jerky. It's a little more on the expensive side. And you don't get that much in it because you know how bacon works in general.
Right.
Because when you make it, it goes like shink. And I tried it. I'm not a crazy huge Sriracha fan myself, but I love snacks, and I always try as many new things. And this one, it was like $9. You got it. You only get like this amount, and I'm like, oh, I'll just try a little bit and see what happens.
It's
and
worth noting when he said this amount, he basically made a thermos shape with his fingers. So
more like a Crystal Wave soup mug.
Okay, sure. The circle size of a mug.
Which will have context to you if you've listened to the previous episode with Jeremy. If you have not, still no reference.
Yeah. It's about Tupperware.
But it blew my mind how good it was. Like I loved this stuff.
That's because I would probably be, and I'm a pretty adventurous eater, but I would probably be like nervous to try it. And I don't know if this is just like a psychological thing that I associate bacon jerky with bacon strips.
Oh,
So I would be, even if with the Sriracha, I'd be like, oh, this is a spicy dog treat I'm putting in my mouth right now. And that would be a psychological hurdle for me to get over. And I don't have many psychological hurdles for food pickiness.
It's different in that there's I think there's also a lot of sugar in there too.
Okay.
So it's like, it's really sweet. It's kind of like sticky when you take it out. It's more sweet than spicy. The Sriracha is a flavor, not an overwhelming.
Oh, okay. And that reminds
me.
me, is it, you said it's kind of sticky. That reminds me, there are like, I don't remember if it's Korean or Japanese, but there's like a style of beef jerky that's kind of different from what you get in like a Jack's Links. And it's almost moist.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good because it's kind of like a thick sauce that has been put into the curing process or something. Sriracha also makes me feel kind of borderline guilty because did you hear about that plant in California for Sriracha?
Oh my God.
Yes.
And if you haven't heard about this, dear listeners, there was a plant in California that produces Sriracha, which is a chili like sambal sauce, I believe. It's that red sauce with a rooster on it. You know what it is. Why am I explaining this? It's an internet meme. And the plant actually was causing such severe eye irritation for and nasal irritation for the whole town.
Everybody's eyes were burning.
That they I think they filed a class action lawsuit against the company.
How can you sleep when your eyes are burning?
It's stupid.
The counter story to that is, I believe it's in Chicago. The Tootsie Roll plant is, and you constantly smell, or until a complaint was filed, you could smell chocolate all day.
Somebody complained about being able to smell chocolate.
Yes, I believe it was a This American Life story that was talking about it. But if you search like Tootsie Roll plant,
get me off this planet. I'll be so stoked to live in a town that smells like chocolate.
That's a very different thing. Like, oh no, it smells like chocolate. Oh no, my eyes feel like they're on fire.
Right.
Right. But that's a thing. So
one last random thing about that. When was the last time you guys had a Tootsie Roll?
Oh, fairly recently.
Really?
It's Michael Barryte, baby.
Look,
He's the most wholesome person on the planet.
I really do. Like, more recently, I've like realized how vanilla I am as a person, and it like makes me a little bit sad.
No, you shouldn't be.
No,
like,
it's not a sad
like
thing.
you're yourself, dude. I like you so much that I know that I can ask you like a morality question, and I'm not gonna get some weird like shiesty sort of answer.
Neil.
It's this. No, I enjoy Tootsie Rolls. Although I will say they're a little too firm for me now. Like if they've sat like any more than like a week, they immediately, like, when you see the Tootsie Roll, you're like, oh, this is gonna be great, and then you like put it in your mouth and you're like, this is a problem.
They petrify,
yeah, and that's you never want a petrified Tootsie Roll.
No, exactly.
Especially on like the larger ones. The fun size ones are manageable, but the like weird cube ones that
look like poop.
Yeah, and that admittedly are a little weird because they have to have the like cardboard around them, and they have the segmented pieces as if you're going to like not just put the whole thing in your mouth, but take like 3 bites of it.
And that's been Michael Barryte's Tootsie Roll Hot Takes.
Which we're using as a nice segue into Trader Rolls. That's right.
Wait,
No,
did
I
we
don't-
sort the jerky though?
No, we haven't
Oh.
sorted the jerky.
I would say this is not gonna. I would say like I can eliminate Ravenclaw. This feels like too much of like a party item. It's not like a food staple, and it's definitely a little bit on like the kooky side. Like you're. This didn't necessarily like.
I think it's either a Hufflepuff or a Gryffindor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Like Gryffindor it's kind of got the bolder flavors and it's being a little adventurous as far as what flavors are being combined.
But Hufflepuff and like, it's like, let's just put this together and see what
Exactly.
happens.
I think a Gryffindor is probably the right answer
Yeah, I
because
can go with that.
It's a little bit more of a risk because people are gonna be like bacon jerky. I don't know.
Sure. Let's move on to Chicago style popcorn.
Chicago style popcorn
What is this?
my favorite
Deep
item at
dish,
Trader
baby.
Joe's.
Best in the city.
What you do is you get a big metal tray. No,
Great.
it's basically it's this. I love this one because it takes me back to my Boy Scout days selling popcorn. And what it is
Wait. Boy Scouts sold popcorn?
Boy Scouts sell popcorn
Yeah,
instead
that
of
was,
Girl
like,
Scout
their
cookies.
thing for a while.
It is our thing.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, it still is? Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
If you want me to come on and sort Boy Scout popcorn, I am more than willing.
Yeah, the Girl
we might-
Scouts.
we might
Girl
have to
Scouts
have
do
you come
cookies
back.
and the Boy Scouts do popcorn.
But like
It's not nearly as popular.
clearly yesterday I was going into REI and there were Girl Scouts like stationed outside and I was like, God damn it, I need to buy tag-alongs now. Like they also pulled like the extra it has been very windy and cold in the Los Angeles area,
And I
which
know
is
America, you're like, oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
like
It's like 70
California.
degrees.
No, it was like
Yeah.
a solid
Yeah,
like
we've been
40,
having a
it was like
legit-
50 48 when I was like walking in, but and these Girl Scouts were like outside and I was like, first of all, I feel very bad because I know that they've been seated out there for a while,
Right.
but I was like, I don't want to be buying the Girl Scout cookies like before I go into the store. I want to buy them when I leave. So I was like, hey, I want to buy Girl Scout cookies. When are you leaving? And they were like 6. And I looked at my watch, which I just gestured to looking at a watch on my wrist.
Yeah.
I don't wear a watch
I've
on my
never
wrist.
known you to wear one.
Nope.
Nope.
Not sure why I did that. But anyway, so I checked my phone and was like, it's 5:48. And so I was like, God damn it. I need to buy these Girl
I
Scout
love
cookies.
the idea of you having to walk around a grocery store just holding a box of cookies that they do
Oh,
not
no.
stock.
REI is a camping store.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm wandering around in a camping store
right.
with trying to look at like water resistant pants and just like waterproof pants, but also holding a box of Girl Scout cookies. And I kept leaving the Girl Scout cookies on like displays when I was like looking at things. Fortunately, the whole staff like was very good. So I was like in a fitting room trying on these waterproof pants and the box of Girl Scout cookies just slid under the door. And I was like, this is great. But
I love that REI does bits.
yeah,
That's great.
But never have I ever seen Boy Scouts stationed outside of any grocery store selling popcorn.
It's like in the big tins. It's more during the holidays.
Oh, so
gotcha.
they're selling like gosh, what is the name of that that great it's like a cheddar caramel
Chocolatey
popcorn.
caramel crunch?
No, specific to O'Hare Airport, like in Chicago.
It's the one
Oh.
with the red stripes, right?
Yeah.
They might sell that one now, but when I was doing it, they didn't. It was a
Like-
lot simpler.
There is if you are in O'Hare Airport, just like look for the like small. It's not even like a fixed store. It's like a booth, and it just sells this caramel cheddar popcorn mix, and it should not be good, but it is so goddamn incredible.
Michael Barryte, guess what Chicago style popcorn is?
Is it that?
It is exactly that.
It's that.
It's $2.
It's cheddar and caramel together,
Yes.
and God damn it!
Whoa, I had no
It's my
idea this was a
favorite
thing.
thing.
How does LA doesn't have many signature foods, but like Chicago seems to have its own distinct variation
Oh
on
my
a
God,
thing
yeah.
for almost every food. And I love it.
And
Actually,
they're
I'm
all
fascinated.
so good if you get them at the right place. Like
Right.
I've had some very bad deep dish in my day, but going
I
to Chicago,
think that's very much a Midwest thing, though, because there's so much focus on the coasts of like, oh, we really need to focus on this and like, oh, trying to figure all these things. Whereas you go to the Midwest, it's like, well, we took this food, we took this Snickers and put it in deep batter, and then like they do. That's where that comes from.
I think West Coast cuisine is just fusion. Yeah,
Right.
I think that's like all it is. We're like, we understand that we're not going to have a unique cuisine. I guess like the most that California really has is like a California Mexican like
The California burrito
iteration.
Well, the burrito came from California.
Well, that's not Los Angeles, though, fellas. The California burrito was invented in San Diego.
Right.
That's
No.
what
Right.
the story goes.
I'm just going.
You're right.
Let's
Sorry.
broaden out from Los Angeles and just go like, can California
But that's
take
what I
anything?
Because, you know, Los Angeles isn't like a place on
But
its
San
own. It doesn't
Francisco
stay.
has treats. It has rice and a lot of other things. San Diego has, I think that's where our style of Mexican food came from.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, I'm sure, does have things. We have like we invented the French dip, but nobody actually like
Really?
Yeah, it's very much considered that at Philippe's, or there's another competitor that's nearby that they invented the French dip sandwich as we know it. Yeah.
Well, then, how do we feel jumping back to popcorn?
See, that was your reaction.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so
But
this is
so it's literally there's caramel popcorn kernels and there's cheddar popcorn, and they're all just mixed together.
It's blowing my mind.
and it's
that
like
this
kind of like
exists.
when you have those Christmas tins, and it's that cheese popcorn and that caramel
right,
popcorn.
but
Okay.
this one's in a bag, and
Gotcha.
it's $2.
I understand,
And
and I'm
it's
going
my-
to be going and buying this.
And
very
also,
soon.
it's gluten free. I always make a note of that. Like, I always think that's a fun, because whenever people are like, I'm gluten free and I'm looking for a snack, I'm
I
like,
feel
oh,
like
here's what you got.
This again either goes Gryffindor or Hufflepuff for me.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like two pretty distinct flavors being thrown in a bag together. It's just, do you think that that's adventurous, or do you think that that's like, hey man, this would be pretty nice?
I think the fact that it's popcorn
Probably
as
makes
opposed
it
to
a
bacon
Hufflepuff.
makes it more Hufflepuff.
Great.
Yeah, and also like if someone, I think it's a really cute sort of snack, and someone be like, my favorite food is popcorn, where half of it's caramel and half of it's cheese. You'd be like, what?
Yeah.
That is Hufflepuff as hell to say.
Yeah, those flavors should not work together. It is incredible how good they are.
It's kind of like the Trader Joe's pickle popcorn.
All right, we're sorting that now. Explain.
Hell yeah, it's just popcorn
it's-
that has dill flavoring.
Yeah.
Oh, well then.
That's it. It's one of those things where you're like, this shouldn't taste good, but it
Is
tastes
it-
really good.
Are the popcorn kernels green?
No,
Okay.
they are
Plus-
not.
Well,
I'm moderately disappointed by that.
If it was you don't want to eat dry green food all the
yeah,
time.
dude, if something
Like,
came
it's-
out of that was bright pickle green.
Whoa. I feel really judged in this moment.
Hey, listen, you dummy.
Oh man, these Hufflepuffs are ganging up on me, guys.
It reminds
his
me
legs.
of potato chips, where you can't really find as much out here. Dill pickle flavor. And I love anything dill, so I'm probably have a big bias. for it
Are you
being-
thinking that they're Hufflepuffs?
I'd probably be safe like sorting any of the popcorn varieties.
Sure.
In the
Yeah,
Hufflepuff.
okay.
And then I think also we can put the because one of the items on the list is also somewhat spicy pickle kettle chips.
Does Pitbull have its own brand of popcorn at Trader Joe's? Because I'm going right now.
Of all the people, Pitbull.
I love
Yes.
Danny
Pitbull.
Trejo has his own breakfast place. But
Yeah.
Somewhat spicy dill flavored kettle chips now sorted as Hufflepuff. Congratulations. We did that
Great.
one very quickly.
I
All
figured
right.
that was an easy one.
Let's
yeah.
try to unexpected cheddar cheese. I don't know, what does this mean?
So unexpected cheddar cheese, it's a block of cheddar cheese, but when it's mixed together, it's also mixed with, I think, Parmesan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when you bite into it, you also get some of that Parmesan in when you eat the cheddar cheese.
Oh, okay, so it's basically like just like you're gonna get a more complex flavor profile
Exactly.
than you would get.
It's a
with
little bit more
standard
firm.
cheddar.
It's nice. It's a great like snacky cheese.
This seems like a Ravenclaw.
Uh-huh.
Just based on the fact that it's like, hey, let's take some familiarity. We're gonna like do some subtle Frankensteining, but nothing
Oh yeah, there
that's
is a
some
subtle,
fusion.
there is a little element of we can, but should we?
right.
Yeah, that I would just be a mystery until I taste it, and then maybe I can make my own.
Whereas
opinion.
Gryffindor's like, we did.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. We okay with Ravenclaw?
Sure.
All right, moving on. Gluten-free cheese pizza with it's worth noting a cauliflower pizza crust.
Those are two separate items.
Oh,
so
I see.
but they're really similar, so I figured you could count them together.
Oh, okay.
So it's a cheese pizza, like a frozen cheese pizza, but it's with a gluten-free crust. And they also have a cauliflower pizza crust, because one of the things you can do at Trader Joe's, you can just buy dough and you can buy all
Right.
that stuff to make your own pizza. And the thing I found out because my girlfriend has celiacs and she can't eat gluten. So, and also she has this thing where she can't eat eggs. So it's very difficult to
that
find
pares
things
it
to
down
eat.
quite a bit.
Yeah. So the cauliflower pizza crust is one of those items that actually fits that, where it's like you can still make pizza, eat pizza, but it doesn't have egg in it.
Right.
So, but it's a great way to, and it tastes good. It tastes like one of those microwave frozen
Cauliflower
pizzas.
is one of those underappreciated veggies.
It really, I thought I would hate it as a kid, and I ate it as an adult, and it's great. There's also like mashed cauliflower. Like there's so many different cauliflower rice.
Yeah,
which is really good.
And I feel like cauliflower in the like appetizer circuit is like really bumping up now. But
everything cauliflower is a Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take that stance right now.
Yeah, no, I feel that that's a pretty safe assessment. Maybe if we have Nina back on to sort more, because she's a naturalist. She might be able to like deep dive and give us a actually
that's fantastic
about things. But
I hope she does. She was a delight.
Yeah.
So we sorted like 5 items right there, every cauliflower item, right?
Every cauliflower item.
So what are we at, Michael Barryte?
I mean, okay, both of those were Hufflepuffs. We've got the speculoos cookie butter.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Because this was like a phenom. I in the trading Joes of the world. Like it felt like this is one of those items that started out pretty innocuously, and then all of a sudden there were variations on speculoos cookie butter everywhere.
Yeah, it's literally it's like peanut butter but with cookies.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, it has a little bit of like a granular texture because it really is like, I think they do bake the cookies and then pulverize them, right?
I think so. Yeah, because there's another version of it there. They have creamy and crunchy.
Gotcha.
And there's also one with cocoa swirl in it. Like, you know how you get goobers? Like the peanut butter and jelly jars?
Sure.
You can do it's with the speculoos cookie butter and chocolate.
So, confession, I've never had cookie butter.
I'll bring you some.
Yeah.
I think
next time. The best way to try it is just to get it on a damn spoon and try it out.
Exactly.
I mean, if it's just like basically cookie dough.
Yeah, it's like a very delicious like vanilla kind of like burnt butter flavor.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I would liken it to like, it's not going to be like a healthy thing for you. It's not like peanut butter. I would say it's more like Nutella, and that like it's frosting that got a really good PR job done on it.
110%.
Okay,
and
so
also the speculoos itself is used to make cookies too.
So this is
separately.
a Slytherin, right?
Yeah, probably.
Like this is a Slytherin branded hard as a Hufflepuff.
Yeah, like it aggressively dominated the Trader Joe's demographic.
Great. Then we've got blueberry Chevre.
Okay, so blueberry Chevre. Chevre is a type of goat cheese.
Oh, okay.
And
is that how you pronounce
Chevre. I don't know.
Chevre. So blueberry Chevre is so this one
we're just leaning into our ignorance at this point.
that's my life.
That's where I live. Yeah.
And it's kind of like in a circular log shape, and it's just covered in blueberries.
Oh.
And this was an item where once again Trader Joe's sampling game is awesome, and it won me over with this item on it. And what they did was they took the blueberry Chevre, and they put it on a ginger snap cookie, and they said, "Eat it." And I'm like, "It's cheese on it. What the what the hell?" And it was great. It was really flipping good.
What you have to understand, goat cheese is a young cheese usually. It's really soft.
It's a young goat.
It's a young goat's cheese.
That's so weird.
So it's going to be softer. You're also going to get more salty and bitter sort of notes from it. As well as like, not even necessarily like a brininess, but that really, really pairs well with the creaminess of cheese as going to be in the fruit.
Sure.
I think that's brilliant to put on a ginger snap because you're really going to get like different kinds of complexities from the spiciness of the cookie.
It really taught me a lot about flavors itself. I was like, oh, I can actually just mix and match these things. I don't just have to go, this cheese goes on a burger. Like you can like Hufflepuff people do.
Right.
And the other, and they have other ones. The blueberry one's the one I like the most. But they also have like an apple cinnamon one. There's a jalapeno one that works really well actually.
I'm wondering now, does this strike you as more Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw? I think those are the two that it's going to be either or. Ravenclaw from the like, what an exceptional pairing of these two items and Hufflepuff from the like, what an excellent pairing of these two items.
I think there was more thought into this one.
Okay.
I'm actually going to disagree with you and say this is a Gryffindor.
Ooh, okay. Just
because it's
the
bold.
boldness of the move.
I would say that like the typical American person doesn't really like go out of their comfort zone very often.
So
with
you're
cheese.
thinking about the buyer on this one.
I would say like you would have to take into account who's going to be eating this food, and that's why it exists in the first place.
Great.
Because people don't necessarily drink goat milk or do much else. So
This
like
is
goat
true.
cheese is kind of an outlier, and like we don't eat goat meat unless you're like certain cuisines, like Jamaican cuisine has goat and stuff like, and a few other ones. But like for the most part, if you are a person from like the Midwest, goat cheese is probably about as far as you're going to go with a goat.
Sure.
Yeah.
That came out
There's
real
so
fucked
many
up.
jokes.
I'm
Immediately I'm
sorry.
like,
We're going to move past that into
we're gonna move
Like
past
a
that.
goat.
Go
to
Goat moves, you idiot.
pepperoni pizza mac and cheese.
Oh, so
What?
the
That sounds good.
The Trader Joe's mac and cheese game is on point, and
Yes.
because they have like the Joe's Diner mac and cheese, which is just your standard mac and cheese, and then they have the reduced guilt one, which is the same but less, and then they also have a hatch chili one, which is really good,
Ooh,
And,
I have to try that.
which is really good, and there's a fourth one that they don't always carry, and it's a harvest mac and cheese with butternut squash. That's really flipping. It's my
Michael
favorite
Barry
one.
is getting horny for this macaroni
Look,
and cheese.
I love squashes in like
Wholesome Michael.
like
I
these
love a gourd.
these are the moments like where I'm like, oh, maybe I'm like a low-key Hufflepuff, but then there are moments where I just have these like intrusive thoughts where I'm like, no, I'm a Slytherin. Like I'm just
I think we all have Slytherin
but
moments.
but maybe that's just my Ravenclawness always analyzing
Yeah.
everything that
Yeah.
I'm
'Cause
doing.
I don't really question my place in the world too often, and I think that's what
Oh,
puts me squarely in the
That's
Huffpuff.
me all the time. Is I'm always questioning why I'm doing things.
But the pepperoni mac and cheese,
Yes.
pepperoni pizza mac and cheese is literally there's the mac and cheese. There's a little bit of marinara, and they can throw pepperoni on it.
It's marinara sauce.
Well, like pizza sauce. Sorry,
Oh, so wait, you make the macaroni and cheese and then you put the marinara sauce on
it's
top of it?
already in the container. You nuke it for like 3 minutes.
Oh, this is like
It's a frozen item.
okay, a partially cooked one already. I thought this was like stovetop, and I was like, I do not understand the steps
Oh,
on
no.
this.
No, I don't mess with stovetop.
This seems to me as a Hufflepuff, right?
I would say so. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely in the goofier sort of like food novelties. Is to be like, what if it was pizza?
It's literally, and it's like it's also like $2 or $3. It's super cheap, and it's so good. There, I saw a guy once like buy and sit and eat 3 of them.
That rules.
Like,
that
which
guy
is so
rules.
weird.
If you're out there, I'm gonna marry you. What's up? What's next, Michael?
Let's shift on to everything but the bagel sesame seasoning.
Have you ever had an everything bagel?
Yes.
Yes.
They took the seasoning and they just sell it by itself.
Oh.
That's
It's
just
really
smart.
good.
That's a Ravenclaw
It's-
sort of move. I would say.
Ravenclaw or Slytherin?
It's but it's great to put on once again like deviled eggs.
Right.
It works really well for it. It literally goes on just about everything.
Because it feels
I've tried.
this is the reason why I think it's Ravenclaw. As a Ravenclaw was eating an everything bagel and
Sure.
went, I very much would like to have this on other things.
Right. Oh,
but
no.
right now, it would be very inconvenient to scrape this off a bagel.
I'm in agreement with you that it's Ravenclaw. I just didn't want us to discount that there might be argumentation for Slytherin based on the like sheer capitalistic like angle of, oh, I can just like lose these elements, like lose the carbs and make a mint off the seasoning.
But you know what? I would argue against that. Because usually, I'm always like corporate.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a huge demographic for people who are going
that's
to lose their
very true.
minds over just everything bagel seasoning.
That's
but the people
true.
who are
That's
going to
true.
like it are going to be really grateful that it exists.
Yeah, and it's once again, it's also like super cheap.
Mhm.
It's tasty, and I think it's. I want to go with the Ravenclaw side of it. That way it's
Great.
put is fantastic.
Let's shift to the Mediterranean creamy and smooth hummus.
Ooh.
This is it's a hummus, and it's cool because it's actually got some of like it's got the seasoning right on top of it,
Right.
and a lot of people you can leave it and just dip it and like get really strong flavoring right off that, or you can mix it together. It's just like your standard hummus. It's whenever people ask
Yeah.
for hummus, that's the one you talk about.
probably a Hufflepuff.
Yeah, I'd say so. In general, I think hummus is such an interesting phenomenon in that
It's chickpeas, right?
yeah, but it seems like only in the last 10 years that almost everyone like was like, "Oh, we like this a lot." But it feels like it's been like a staple of other people's diets forever.
Right.
It was like
Yeah.
it would be like
think-
if another country discovered peanut butter and lost their minds.
I think maybe as like growing up with a Jewish family, like I was definitely more familiar with hummus. Like,
Yeah.
I think being in California, though, it's also more apparent for us. Like hummus, this is great. We're also like, there's so many different things that we'll try. Whereas like there are some other places, like when I visit my family in Missouri, they're like, no, we don't like hummus. Well, I never.
Oh,
even heard of,
interesting.
like, that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it just very like whenever people are like, "Oh, I just can't believe this. I haven't had this in my diet before." I was like, "Where you been, fella?" But maybe that just is the fact that like
You
I've never
weirdo.
I've never not lived in the Southwest.
right. We're gonna move on to organic
Did
corn
we
chip
sort
dippers.
the hummus? We sorted.
Oh, I said Hufflepuff, and we seemingly
Oh
were
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
agreement
And,
It's a
then, and then I
family
went on
food,
a
yeah.
tangent.
No,
Yeah.
I just wanted to check. And
Right,
make
right,
sure.
right. No,
Sorry.
no, very good. Organic corn chip dippers.
These are organic Fritos. It's literally what it sounds like. And the reason I love Fritos as a kid, one of my favorite foods of all time, called in my family Trish nachos. And literally all it was is we would take to show that I'm not just a pure Tupperware person. We'd take a Pyrex pie thing,
Great.
and referencing to the previous podcast, sorry. And we would take half a can of refried beans, spread it across the whole thing, put some cheese on top, and throw it in the microwave for like 2-3 minutes. Take it out. You got some Fritos. Now we're gonna sit and watch the Academy Awards. Let's enjoy this.
Oh, that sounds good.
Like,
That sounds like a
and it's-
solid snack.
I would have it for dinner. Like it's a big thing for just one person. You can also do salsa on it. You can throw on some chives. I'm a basic bean and cheese person. And it was one of those situations where you look at it, you're like, oh, wow, like this is my favorite food as a kid. And you look back, you're like, oh, we didn't have a lot of money at that point in time. So this is why it became.
Oh my god. Mine was when we would get fancy with the ramen and we would drain it and then we would fry it on the stovetop
yeah.
afterwards, not knowing that that's just how a lot of people make their noodles anyway.
Mhm.
But that was like the way we switched it up, and it made
Mhm.
and it definitely was like, I feel less poor right now.
Mhm. Or you use like mix up the eggs and make egg drop soup out of it is the other one you can
Oh,
do.
definitely.
That's really cool.
What are we sorting this as?
So
I don't have a like.
I like them. I like them better because there's more of a crunch. They got more of a crunch. And once again, it's organic. I want to make it clear, just because Trader Joe's puts organic on something, they never ever actually claim that it's healthy.
Yeah.
So like that's like if you look at the sodium and a lot of
I
stuff, it's a
feel
little
like that
crazy.
it is like a subliminal way of trying
Right.
to like make people think this is going to be a better option for me than the other brand because the other brand
Yeah.
doesn't say organic.
But I feel like Whole Foods does more of that though.
Oh, no,
Where it's
for
like,
sure.
Oh yeah, we're the healthy option. Buy this cucumber in a water.
No,
like a thing.
no, absolutely. They once tried to put broccoli in water and
That
stuff
was
like
it,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's there's not a whole like corn also is so overproduced in America,
Mhm.
and there's not a whole lot of nutritional value to it. So I would say
But we
like
got a lot of
if
it.
you're eating
Yeah.
this, it's because you just know you love it and you're not necessarily thinking about calories
Mhm.
or health or anything like that.
So
Full
puff. Continuing with corn, restaurant style white corn tortilla chips.
You know, ever go to a restaurant and it's like you bite into the chip and it's have you ever gone, this is just, oh my god, and you just bite into it, it's got that little bit of lime to it,
Mhm.
salted on like one side. That's what these are.
Yeah.
I love them.
Full
puff.
Great. Moving on to the one that I first was introduced to Trader Joe's with, which is the peanut butter filled pretzels.
Oh, those are good as hell.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I love these things.
And they come in that like great container. that-
They really do.
Yeah, you're getting it like basically in like
Well,
a
they started, or no, they're just still
they're
in a bag. They're
now,
still in
yeah.
a bag. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the other stores now put
Yeah.
them in.
plastic
container.
containers that they're airtight.
The Trader Joe's has a great like a lot of different options of snacks like that.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier, the chocolate covered raisins.
Now, if
Are
you
a
never
thing where
had
I'd always
one
be
of
like,
these before, it is not necessarily
Thank
like your twisted pretzel. It's going to be like a little like cloud of pretzel.
Yes.
That is very thin, and inside is going to be a little nugget of peanut butter. It's usually going to be a little bit on the harder side because it
Yeah.
hasn't been stored like a
It's
jar.
not like hard. You have to like crunch through it,
No.
but it's
like a Reese. It's like
dried
Reese's.
out.
Yeah,
peanut
it's
butter.
like it's like when you bite into an Oreo, it's not like liquidy. It's like more of a solid type
Right.
thing. Or a Jojo. But they have salted, unsalted, and milk and dark chocolate covered ones.
Of these pretzels.
Yes.
I've not had the. Oh man, that is some decadence.
Yeah.
If there's chocolate, oh dear, oh dear. Like
It's literally that Reese's had a pretzel baby.
If you're not snacking while listening to this podcast by now, what's wrong with you?
And I feel bad because I bought snacks to share with you guys from Trader Joe's. Be like, we're talking about Trader Joe's. I left them at home,
Well, get the fuck out of here.
which I think might be the most Hufflepuff thing I could have done. Just like I prepped it.
No,
Dang it.
and to be clear, Jeremy the Hufflepuff forgot the food. Reed the Hufflepuff forgot we were podcasting.
I didn't
Michael
call you.
called me at 10 a.m. when we were supposed to start and went, "Where are you?" And then I was on the other side of Los Angeles.
I'm gonna say though, you hauled ass across
Yeah, it
town.
was
You made
kind
it
of a
here in
miracle.
20 minutes, and it allowed for us to catch up and make up this list. Which are we?
Listen, I am a professional at running late. At this point, I'm like, it's one of the things I hate about myself.
Oh, I'm right
Yeah.
there with you. I hate that about you too. Also, I'm consistently late to places, so
I got a note from a class I'm taking right now, an improv class, where it's like one of the things we're working on is professionalism. Like, Jeremy, be on time. And I had just walked in like 20 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my issue. I think the first two, the one with the salt and the unsalted ones, I honestly think that might be more Ravenclaw. Because they were like, okay, let's
to
combine
figure
this,
this
let's work
out.
this out. Then the chocolate comes in, Hufflepuff's like, I know how to make this better. It's gonna make this better.
Yeah.
And then I think at some point there was one with, I don't think this is true, but Hufflepuff was like, then put sprinkles on it. And then Ravenclaw was like,
I
no,
feel
that's
like
enough.
I feel like they'd probably go in like with one of the other food trends, and it would be like Sriracha chocolate covered pretzel filled with peanut butter.
Sriracha caramel bacon.
And I would probably try it if it was in the sample cup at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I inadvertently skipped over one because we started to shift into like more snackage and dessert.
Son of a biscuit.
Overbaked cheese bites.
Okay. So have you ever? No.
Been overbaked? Hell yeah, dude. Hang loose.
So you're making something that has cheese on it and on a baking pan, and the cheese gets on the.
Yeah.
Oh, so then it burns a little bit?
Yeah. That's essentially just a bag full of those. It's a small bag.
Oh, I like that. No,
but it's really good.
It's like a cheese crisp.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
a Hufflepuff.
That's how I think of it. Yeah, it's a cheese crisp.
Speaking of Hufflepuff, a lot of the times when you're trying to like get us into like here's what it is, you sound exactly like Billy Mays without that. I mean, you're not screaming, but you're like, all right, picture this. You're in your kitchen.
Let me set the scene.
You love cheese, right? What if it was on a pan and it was baked?
All right, you following me? Okay, here's what's going on right here. Now we got a huge mess right here. How are we gonna clean it up? Oh, I'm just gonna wrap it right up with this with the ShamWow. This is amazing. Put on a Snuggie.
Let's
Read
move
a
on
book.
to mixed nut butter because we're agreeing that that's a Hufflepuff.
Yeah, it's a
right?
Hufflepuff.
Mixed
Yeah.
nut butter.
It's a bunch of different nuts made to make peanut butter, because peanut butter is not you can just make the butter with all other kinds of nuts. There's a cashew butter, there's a sunflower butter.
Right. And so this is just the hodgepodge of
And it was actually one of the first items Trader Joe's started selling. Trader Joe's, a quick history lesson, started off in 1958 as a convenience store called Pronto Mart. And then in the 1960s, I think, it turned into Trader Joe's. The guy who owned it, Joe, changed the name to Trader Joe's, and they started wearing Hawaiian shirts, and it became a thing in the area.
Oh.
And one of some of the first few items they sold, I think mixed nut butter was one of them. They had nuts in just like open like containers where you come in with a scoop and get it yourself. And then they're also sold pantyhose.
What?
Yeah, it
you
was like it was
Trader
trying to-
Hose.
Reed is so delighted by this. The positioning that I would describe them in was almost Beetlejuice-esque when he's seated up on like the
oh yeah, all my appendages suddenly just went splaying out.
when he's seated up on the tombstone and he's like, "Hey everybody," like it's that.
I am pretty Beetlejuice-esque, I would have to say, for not being a corpse.
That's mostly just the pants, though. I think.
Yeah, and also if you say my name 3 times, I will appear.
Which is what I should have done as opposed to just texting you.
Fuck you! I got here.
Right. No. You got here in record time. Are we mixed nut butter?
Ravenclaw.
Yeah,
I think it's Raven. Like all the butter aspect.
Peanut butter is also not super good for you in terms of like the omega 3s or whatever you want.
It's so goddamn good.
But
no, it's
and you're
best.
not allowed to eat it at
favorite.
schools now.
What?
There's so much
peanut
peanut allergy.
That's fair.
Like right now I teach Shakespeare at a bunch of elementary schools, and I brought a PB&J and I couldn't bring it in with me.
That is why. Like I understand that from like a safety standpoint, but also my lunches would
exactly
like that's 80% of my lunches growing up.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's very easy to feel like, that's like all right, we really are a nation of snowflakes, but I would, before you settle in on that opinion, I would, dear listener, Google anaphylactic shock.
And human listeners.
Yeah, it is the most terrifying thing, and it looks like one of the most gruesome ways to die.
In high school, one of the students who performed in a chorus line with myself and my roommate Alex went on a church group trip and died from anaphylactic shock.
What?
Yes.
Oh, God.
So like she was Cassie in a chorus line, like
my
the main,
God.
and everybody loved her, and it was Rice Krispie treats that happened to have peanut butter like mixed in somewhere.
And she just couldn't
She
tell.
didn't know. She didn't have her EpiPen, and she was on a hike with her church group, and it is horrifying.
what a
sorry
way to
sorry to put a damper on things,
No,
but
no,
like
but I
it's a
just,
very
like-
real.
no, I think,
That was a real Order of the Phoenix
most
moment
people
right
just don't
there.
think
oh my
about
God.
it. They think like, oh, your little kid's gonna get like the sniffles or a rash. Like, no, like this could kill you. And I feel like people don't take allergies seriously enough.
And it's like when you hear people who are like, oh yeah, they said they want a Diet Coke, but I filled it with regular. Or like the whole thing of like, something that actually happened to my girlfriend was they feel like, oh, she's like, oh, and does it have gluten? I can't have that. And they're like, okay, we'll do the gluten-free bread. And they would actually put gluten on it because they thought she was just some kind of like LA
Snob.
like hoity-toity person.
Yeah.
When literally it could kill her.
I don't have a single allergy, people, but I do have what is called empathy and compassion, and I suggest it highly to more of you.
Yo,
Thank you.
that's a roast.
Yeah, on all of our listeners.
No, just the ones who aren't empathetic towards people.
Just
Yeah.
the dear listeners.
So let's
Great movie.
shift to dessert-ish things with Gone Bananas. That's dessert-ish,
Yes,
right?
that's dessert-ish. It's a frozen banana covered in chocolate.
Yeah.
It's a Hufflepuff.
Just so
I'm
so
just gonna-
quick. All right, let's
If somebody could potentially get into a skirmish with a monkey over your snack, you got a Hufflepuff snack, baby.
No, give me that stick with ants on it. I want it.
let's continue
Sorry.
on
Try
with let's continue on with mini cinnamon sugar churros.
Oh, this is also in the snack aisle,
Yes.
right next to the Chicago style popcorn. It's tiny churros in a bag.
All right, now are these gonna have like the same like texture where it's kind of like
They're
cakey?
crunchy.
Okay.
They're crunchy. So they're crunchy. They're about like I'd say like 2-3 inches big.
Okay.
Like or more like 2, but they're small, and it's a new thing they started carrying. I tried it thinking like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, oh yeah, and then once again, the situation is the bag's gone. And you're like, this is amazing. But my favorite thing about them, and this is the most Hufflepuff thing I can say on the planet, is there is still a bunch of cinnamon sugar and all that stuff on the bottom of the bag, like an inch. So I just opened it and like it was like, oh, I can put this on ice cream. I can eat this. I can figure out other things. So it's a Hufflepuff.
I would just pour it directly in my mouth.
Yeah.
I thought that was initially what you were going to say, and
I was, but I didn't want to seem like
I'll do it. I don't have any dignity.
all right.
I think it's Hufflepuff.
It's Hufflepuff. I mean, we're now in the world of desserts, which feels more Hufflepuff and just like that umbrella. Then to continue with more treats, I've sort of organized the list as we've been going to try to keep
For
it.
sure.
As
Thank you for
within the
doing this
realm.
for me, by the way.
Let's go with the Dress Circle Crispy Crunchy Chocolate Chip Cookies.
The what?
It's called.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah, the tub says Dress Circle, which I've never noticed until I was writing the list.
You don't have to.
Crispy Crunchy Chocolate Chip Cookies. They come in a tub.
It's a tub of tiny chocolate chip. It's basically they shrunk Chips Ahoy and they made it like a snacky item.
Yeah, you haven't quite gone to Chips, the Cookie Crisp.
But these
cereal.
are more buttery in nature than a Chips Ahoy cookie, I would feel, and also like a lighter bake as far as its coloration goes. I love these cookies. I do feel somewhere in the past 10 years they changed the bake. And I don't necessarily like them as much, but I will still buy them and enjoy them.
That has been your feedback, Trader Joe's.
I also, having eaten a lot of these in the past, have a weird eating habit with them where I will, to limit the amount that I have, I will only eat them in pairs if they are back to back with one another. Mm-hmm. Like their bottoms are touching. And then
I know what you meant.
So then I have like a saucer of a cookie.
That's some Rain Man shit right there. Like almost like, okay. So are you saying like when you look in the container, they have to be like that already?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't like,
you can't take two, make a sandwich.
Right.
And then...
No. I mean, I'll periodically like jiggle the box so then they align. I'm like, well, now they adhere to the rule that I've created for myself. But it's just a weird thing that I do that.
Yeah.
That's how I've chosen to start eating them. Also,
I'm going to look at you every time you eat a cookie from now on.
Also, they're exceptional if I forget who we were having on the podcast discussing cookies in milk, but if you just like throw a bunch of these
Cookie Crisp, baby,
in the milk and let them all sink to the bottom and just like stir them up and then eat them that way, they are so good.
I don't know why, but for some reason I hate that.
No, we've had this. Yeah, we've definitely had this conversation on mic, and you've looked at me like I'm a horrifying monster.
It just sounds sludgy, and I don't like it.
Well, it's so good.
You gotta the sludginess. Sometimes that can be an issue, but like when it comes to like dipping the cookie in the milk, it's not just boop boop, eat it or keep it forever.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I figured out a science to it where if you put the cookie in, bubbles start coming out because they're filling in the air holes. So you wait till the bubbles stop and it'll be the perfect consistency in between. This is my Ravenclaw moment with cookies.
I mean, I feel that these are actually Ravenclaw.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Yes. I feel that it's taking something that everybody loves, shrinking it down to make it a little bit more like manageable in terms of like you can really portion control this. And it's, I don't know, like the alternate would be Hufflepuff, right?
Yeah.
Like
I can see this doing Ravenclaw, like, because this is a perfect one for, all right, I'm going to grab a few of these, put them in my kids' lunch. I can like gauge how many they eat.
Exactly.
Because sometimes you look in, like when you're a kid, you got like the 3 cookies.
Yeah.
And like, because that's what fits. And you're like, great, 3 cookies. But this one, it feels like you got a lot more and it's more exciting.
Right. How do you feel on this, Reed?
I think that's totally makes sense. Probably why I can't connect to it as well.
Oh, okay.
It's a different world.
Let's
there's another cookie that's really cool like that one. If you want to try a cookie next time, it's a bigger cookie, but the gluten-free cookies that are there are really good too. There's chocolate chip, there's oatmeal raisin, skip the oatmeal raisin, and there's ginger snap ones. And
I'm
all three
always down on
both
a
of them
ginger
are really
snap.
good.
I also in a similar camp are the Dunkers.
Yeah.
Which I think those are probably more Hufflepuff.
Yeah, because
sure.
someone was sitting there with a cookie just going, motherfucker, wait.
Yeah.
like cutting off the sides, figuring it out.
I feel like the
Dunkers are, if you're unfamiliar, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, sure.
Dunkers, if you don't know what they look like very long, tall, like dunkable cookies. They're the length of a glass.
They're surfboard cookies.
Yeah.
You guys are just describing biscotti.
But biscotti's like far more thick. Like
yeah, it's more almost like bread.
Yeah,
like in the sense that like it looks like it has a crust and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, these Dunkers are just super thin.
Gotcha.
So Dunkers are Hufflepuff. The gluten-free ones I think are also Ravenclaw. Biscotti, I would argue, is more of a Slytherin thing.
All
Because
right.
Trader Joe's also sells biscotti. So I'm adding that in
Let's
to,
do a couple
to
more
include our
before we
total.
wrap
Yeah.
up.
Sorry,
I've only got 2 more on this list, actually.
Oh,
We've
cool.
got the chocolate cat cookies for humans.
They're
What?
cats shaped like they're cookies
That sounds
shaped
like something
cats.
I would just get so confused and like I'm gonna be embarrassed to ask anyone if this is for cats or for people.
That's why they labeled it that way. Yeah, it's the label is actually chocolate cat cookies for humans. Like it says that on it, and it does feel like a Hufflepuff way of going. Okay, just so you know, these are cat cookies, but they're for you. Okay, like that kind of.
Well, because they
For
look
me to
like
give to
cats,
my
right?
cat.
Yeah, they're shaped like cats.
I give it to my cat. You mean?
No. It's for you. Like you eat them.
They
You
are
think I eat cat food? What is
No.
wrong with you?
chocolate cookies that are shaped like cats for humans.
I would like one.
Ah. Guys, you got your marketing all wrong. I fixed it.
It's either Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw just going, okay, listen, like what just happened
Yeah.
right there
Yeah.
of the, all right, they are.
Yeah. We don't need to land
It
on a place with
reminds me
their.
of
they're Huffleclaw.
like that name makes me think like that was not the original name, and also it reminds me of the Mr. Show sketch, the pre-taped call-in show. Where
Yes.
if you call in, you were calling for like the next day's show, so people kept calling in for like the one that they were watching.
Oh, it's such a funny bit.
Just Google it. It's
Mhm.
one of the best pieces of video sketch I've ever seen.
Mr. Show in general has like
Mr.
some of the
Show's
most
great.
clever
Yeah.
sketches. The audition is also.
Oh, Audition is definitely apparently Audition. Unless I'm like ascribing this to another sketch, but I think this is the right one. Was apparently written by 2 of the writers after they did mushrooms
Great.
in Joshua Tree.
And finally, we're gonna close out with Hold the Cone.
Hold the cone. It's
Good pun. Good pun.
It's hold the cone. Thank you. It is it's like a drumstick, not a chicken drumstick, but the ice cream drumstick.
Right.
And except it's a lot smaller, and you get like 8 of them in a box, and they don't have nuts on them. You can get vanilla, chocolate, or peppermint if they're carrying peppermint.
Yo,
Oh,
that
so they're just little-
peppermint
they're
is
just little
what it's
tiny ice
about.
They're
cream.
tiny chocolate like covered ice cream cones.
Okay.
It seems like it's probably a Hufflepuff, but it could go maybe in a Slytherin angle.
Why Slytherin?
Well, I think Slytherin just because of the like richness and like. But were you thinking
Feeling like
Gryffindor?
I was thinking a little bit of Ravenclaw, just because in my brain what was happening is like, all right, now we're gonna shrink it.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah.
To
There's
my,
that-
similar
so
to my
like it can
crispy
go,
crunchy chocolate
it can,
cookies.
it can go strong either way. I don't think it's Gryffindor because Gryffindor would make a bigger one.
Right.
All
But
right.
I
Here's
get-
I know we've been. This might be like disappointing because we don't want everything to be Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
But here's my argument for why this might be one of the most Hufflepuff foods that we've sorted today.
Sure.
Someone went, all right, Hufflepuff, ice cream cones. People love ice cream, but we have to offer a diet version. And the Hufflepuff went, I'm going to go to the drawing board. I'm going to bring you something really good. And then they came back with, what if the ice cream is smaller?
I like to believe when this pitch happened, there was a drawing of like the ice cream cone on the board.
Yeah.
And Hufflepuff like looked at it
For hours.
and just then went up and drew the same thing, but smaller next to it and was like, what about this?
Yeah.
And they were like,
I feel like they tried to draw it again, but accidentally drew it smaller. And then they're like, wait, no, that's it. Look, it connects. It works out
yeah,
everything.
the
Oh,
Ravenclaws
okay.
were like, that's the way. And the Hufflepuff was like, oh, yeah,
And then
that's what I meant.
The Hufflepuff went, all right, Ravenclaws, use your shrinking ray. I'll be back in my office.
I'm contented with that.
I'm
and
good on ending with that
with
one.
that, I'd like to thank you, Jeremy, for joining us.
Did we break the record?
I don't know if we broke the record.
Let's count them out right now
Oh
on the
man,
podcast.
please don't. But to those of you listening,
Valiant effort, though.
to those of you who have listened, if you are keeping that Wikia afloat, it's not a real thing
No.
yet.
Make one.
Let us know
Okay.
if how many were sorted on this. Retroactively go through, re-listen again. Sorry, I don't want to give you guys homework. That's cruel.
If you guys could tag at Jeremy Hanna 753 on Twitter and let him know how it went, then I can try and break it again another time,
Sure.
or we can try and figure something out. Because I got ideas of longer lists.
I like that you've come at this and you're like, this is the Guinness World Book of Records for me. This is going to be my small claim to fame.
Very satisfied to do quantity over quality. That's what it takes. What a dream
You just
you've
described
been.
Jeremy in a nutshell. Quantity over quality. Let's do this.
Where else can we find you within the Los Angeles area if people are in the LA area?
I perform with my group Brigadoon at Pack Theater. We just we perform on Thursdays, I think. Yeah, we just finished up a improvised TED Talk, and that's a lot of fun. Progress now, and I also do theater sports, and I perform in Improv Studio, and I also do comedy sports. So those are all great ways to check it out, to check me out if you want to check me out. And also, if you're an elementary school kid, I'm going to be teaching you Shakespeare if you're in the Ventura County.
Oh, okay.
So there we go.
So all of you elementary school kids in the Ventura County listening to this podcast that's marked explicit 9 times out of 10.
That's right. My
Because of
little
my
pudge
dumb
wedgies.
ass.
That's fantastic.
Where we can find more of Reed at That Dang Dingus on Twitter. You can find me at Belated Media on Twitter. You can follow us at sortinghat_pod for all sorts of fun sorting polls.
Yeah, and like if you do like the pod, here's more homework. If you wanted to like leave us like a review on iTunes or Spotify, if that's a thing you can do on Spotify, I'd appreciate you.
Yes. So
Can I not do that now that I've been on the podcast?
I mean, you
you
can.
can, and we probably will read it out loud in an episode.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Jeremy. And now we're just going to go to Trader Joe's to enjoy all of what you've made us very hungry for.
Thank God I haven't eaten in 15 minutes.